Welcome to Simply Sheppy, your community podcast which aims to create and enhance connections within the community to build a better Sheppy.
Welcome, Boogie Tots, Sam Searle. We've been chatting and now we're going live to finally talk about you and Boogie Tots. So welcome to the Simply Sheppy podcast and back to the Simply Sheppy podcast. You've been on with Kay before on Zoom. Sounds a million miles away, but in lockdown.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And now we're back, like I say, a million years later in the studio, back on Sheppy. So what's been going on? Just chat. We've been chatting about business stuff and this and the other, but just chat about what's been going on since you was on a podcast with Kay and coming out of lockdown, because you was doing your live Zoom ones on there. Seems like a million years ago.
So Boogie Tots is in-person classes now, and we
Right.
work in the community and in schools and nurseries. They're fun, engaging dance classes that build confidence, allow children to express themselves freely, and just basically have a good time, let them be themselves, burn off a bit of excess energy. So as soon as we came out of lockdown, the classes were extremely full. There was a waiting list because people could not wait to get out of their homes and into classes. It was a bit of a phenomenon, really. And because of the lockdown rules for a little while, there was restrictions on how many people could come. So the classes were really full. So it was booming. And yes, that's been really good. But just abandoned.
Seeing people again.
Yeah, but just abandoned everything on Zoom, to be honest.
Do you not do any online stuff?
No, and I was recently looking at it because I have lots of videos on there that show my routines. I was showing them to one of my instructors, and I watched a session I did for a school, and I thought, oh my God, this is so good. Why did I just abandon it?
Yeah.
Because I was working with banks, like for health and well-being over Zoom, and just sort of dismissed it completely. So.
Yeah, it might be because my wife still does yoga online. They went to an online version and she still does that. I think there's still a space for it.
Yeah.
And even like if you're branching out, like going internationally with it, it's the sort of thing that it could be something you could get a wider reach with, because it's quite unique. When we had our kids, we took them to go to dance class, but it was more official dance type thing. And this is more of a cross between a kids' nursery rhyme type thing and top of the pop type thing, it seems like.
I would say, when you go on holiday to abroad and you have the kids' entertainment, I'm the kids' disco. And I'm getting the parents involved, I'm getting the children involved. And something that I think is quite unique we do at Boogie Tots is we mash up nursery rhymes with pop songs. And so I was thinking about the other day, I had a conversation with some sixth former students. They came to one of our classes, they're doing community in dance. And they said, who are the classes for? So that's easy, it's for under fives. And then I said, actually it's for families. And then I was thinking about it. If a parent come along to my class with their child and their child didn't join in, you paid £7 a class, you probably won't come again unless you really enjoyed yourself.
Yeah.
And then that's what happens. The adults are really enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I think because I always think with this of the outcome, who is it actually for? Because for the parents, like the outcome is that the kids are happy. So, but it's for the parent to know that their kid's happy. The outcome is for the parent. Like, I know that the kids. I always say this with coaching. Like, you don't want coaching, you want what it can get you.
Yeah.
It's like getting an MOT for your car. You don't want it, but you want to be able to get in your car and know that you're legal to be able to drive wherever. And I think that's the outcome is actually the parents knowing that their kids are fitting in, enjoying themselves. I watched the last podcast you did with Kay, and you was talking in there quite powerfully about, she said, what do they get from it? And you had a list of stuff, and you could have probably gone all day about what they get from dancing, being free, the confidence and this, that and the other. And I think it's the parent that, like that's the product that the kids get, but the outcome is it's actually the parent will pay £7 to have that.
Yeah.
To see their kid that happy, it's actually the parent that gets from it. That's the end client, really, isn't it?
It's a bit. When I realised that, it's a bit of a revelation, really.
Yeah, because that's what when it comes to marketing. Because I asked you to come back on because I'm going to try and host more of a business angle with the Simply Sheppy, and where you're talking about franchising and this and the other, it interests me mechanics of it, because Same with the franchise, who you want to target, and it's the same with advertising. You're not going to create advertising for the kids, even though they're the ones that are going to get something out of it. It's like there's almost an element to it as well. It's like mums will have a respite because they can take them there, and the kids can run around, and they can maybe sit and have a coffee and chat for a little bit, or like that's what you're advertising. The outcome is that they get, and their kids engage with other kids. Yeah. So they get to be more social.
We do make the parents join in.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. It's very much a thing where parents join in.
Right, yeah.
And it is quite an active class. But so we're talking about the franchising and like the structure of the class. So obviously when you give out a business, you would worry about if it's going to be exactly how you taught it, or if it's going to be exactly the same choreography, because things get lost, Chinese whispers. But I think the true essence of it is as long as the outcome is the same. So the outcome of the class is the child has expressed himself freely, the parent has had a good time, they want to come back again, they've socialised. Then I think that is the very crux of it.
Yeah, because on the franchising, and we'll bounce around a little bit. We have got some. We are going to bounce out a bit. But on the franchising side of that business, there's a book called E-Myth. And
I've been recommended this one, actually.
It talks about a woman that's got a bakery and she wants to scale it. And this is where I use my lift analogies in business coaching to come up with a system. So if you have a set of drawings for a lift, it's the same set for each lift, but you have a working model you can go back to and work on it. And they use this analogy of a recipe for baking. So I'm going to actually make some scones and do a video about it, because my nan used to make scones. Before she died, I never captured the recipe, so I've got to make them now. But how do you make a scone? And it's like, okay, well, Boogie Tots is a system, and it has a certain essence to it, a certain flavour, certain temperature, and that makes the perfect Boogie Tots. And how do you get that and duplicate it? Because I might go and make some, and it'd be like, no, I put coconut in my scones, and you're like, no, I put cherries in my scones, and I slice mine and put honey on them, and you're like, no. And this is having this system that you can duplicate it, and that's a good book to read to understand that. So I mean, moving on, so the franchise, you got to a stage where you want to sort of scale and get more outreach with Boogie Tots.
I would like to expand. I feel like I've sort of got at capacity for myself, and like my why is my family, and we want to like live in a bigger house and sort of expand and look after them better. So the franchising is the next natural step to get the Boogie Tots out there to a wider audience, and that's what we're looking to do. And also when we was on lockdown, like all those people that were joining in on Zoom, they weren't from just Sittingbourne and Sheppey. There were people from all over the country, and so me saying, I'm not on Zoom anymore, I've missed those people. But if there was a Boogie Tots in their town, they would still be able to enjoy it and that sort of thing. So sort of investing in myself and investing in the business and sort of making it a brand, making it systems that people can then do themselves. So helping someone who used to be like me, maybe you want to run your own business because you want to be there for sports days and pick the kids up and be in control of your own finances as well. Then franchising is a way you could do that, doing a job that's quite a lot of fun. It would suit, you'd have to be the right personality, but and there are certain things that we would look for in our criteria, but it's a real opportunity for like female entrepreneurs to start their own business and
males.
Yeah, well, males will be. Well, I have got a few males interested. Yeah,
it does lend itself more to a female.
I'm kind of like
Yeah, it is definitely. That system. I mean,
for empowering women.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on, and we've been chatting about the business side of stuff, is that I'm down at a resident now at the Dockyard Church, which is Island Works in Bluetown, and they've got a Sheppey business networking group that we've set up, and trying to get business owners involved and working together, because this also links onto this community connections. That there's so many, like if Lee was on the podcast now, I was laughing when you said about you like to connect and this, that and the other. Lee's always finding these links. So Lee's helped me with the Think and Believe and the coaching, and he comes from a lean management background. So how to make things fine-tuned from a production point of view. But when we start talking, and you'll say that, and he's like, and they said that, and they want to do this, and that. If they all got together and just thought about it, and we're like, we've been saying this a lot, and this is why these things are starting to come together now. Like we set up the business networking thing. It didn't quite gel, and when the church opened up and went down there and said they want to do it, we was like, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. You take it, you run with it. It's a great space. And part of that was these different business owners in the area getting together to come up with these connections. And, you know, I think that business model, you know, finding the right people and the connections, that there's a lot out there that one would want to run a business like that, and would get so much from it. But it's the art of it with the business is finding them, marketing to them,
finding
and then
the right
having
people.
that system, like that ingredients of them, making sure they don't take your scones and turn them into, you know, custard donuts. It's like no. It's like, how do you maintain that system and that integrity of what you set up? It's funny. My nan, bless her, as she was getting older, she made scones, and once she messed up and she put kidney beans in instead of rice. So we're eating them. But it's like one little thing wrong without the right system. So she obviously wasn't using a recipe. She just did it off the top of her head. And she got to a stage where that, you know, that little change in it tastes completely different, and you want to keep that essence of what you're doing, and how do you keep what's in that.
So we would provide a training manual on how to run it, and policies and structure, and also ongoing support from myself, which is head office.
Yes.
But it's just me at the minute.
Yeah. That's all right.
But yeah, so we keep an eye on it, and support. That's the thing. So that's something that can be a bit lonely, running your own business. So one of the good things about franchising is you're working for yourself, but you're not really by yourself, because you've got head office, or you've got other franchisors or instructors to speak to.
Yeah, it's a business I've not got involved in, but I think it's got a massive potential. So those links to people working for you and developing the business model, so they'll have a system of how to run it. So ideally, what are you looking for? Areas in Kent that you can reach out to?
So the areas we're looking at most at the moment would be sort of Medway, Maidstone, Canterbury, Ashford. Because another thing we run classes in Sittingbourne and Sheppey at the moment. We have expanded out to Medway and Faversham before, but again, if it's just me, it can be quite a lot. So we had someone travelling all the way up from Ashford to come to our Sittingbourne class, and I think she travelled up one day when it was actually snowing. And I just thought, if someone's willing to travel all that way just to come to our Boogie Tots, and she didn't just come once, then this is something that they need to have in Ashford. So that's what we want. We want people to be able to access it, because they're obviously getting so much from the class that they would travel all that way. I mean, that's a long way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just for like an hour's class. So, yeah, and they must not have anything like it there. I mean, there will be other dance classes, but Boogie Tots is, I think, because of the freedom of it and the fact that parents get involved as well, and like if your child comes and runs around the whole time, it's not really a problem. It's not a problem for us. Hopefully it's not a problem for you. We used to have one child that come along, and he didn't really join in, but he would sort of get a bit closer to me every time. He sort of observed. So he wasn't necessarily joining in for the dance, but he was very much socialising, and he was getting quite a lot from it. And his mum was completely happy, because she knew that he'd be going to nursery soon. He's like socialising with all the other children. So yeah, people get unexpected things from it that you don't. It's not just, you're not coming to learn a dance routine, although you can do that as well.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like the business model definitely sounds like something that should be in every village or area accessible to youngsters and kids. It's just, how do you pick up on that from a marketing point of view? So the franchise Is that the name?
Franchises?
Franchises.
Oh, are you talking about the people of franchisees?
Yes,
yeah.
franchisees.
Yeah.
So you've not had a full franchisee yet. It's something you're about to start doing. So you're sort of launching out and letting people know about it.
Yeah.
So what's the process of? So I live in Canterbury and I want to do it. What's the process from start to finish? It's now, October.
Yeah. So the first thing you do is look at our brochure. We'd sort of have a little call, make sure that we're right for each other, and then we would get go through some stuff, get you to watch some videos, maybe invite you along to a class, and then we would, if everything's going well, you could put a deposit down, get the franchise agreement, have that looked through by a franchise specific lawyer. When you're ready to sign, and then training will start. So you could be up and running. Maybe if we used to start now, maybe for February. Yeah. Yeah. So the training, we could slot in the training, 2 weeks training online and in person to learn the choreography. And we wouldn't we'd help you with everything. So how to set up the business and really basic stuff, how to set up your Facebook page, how to set up your Google business page, or, how to become a limited company, everything you need to know to just start that business and get going.
And going back to why, franchise and not set up your own one. We was talking about how long it takes to get things right and how things setting up. And I think this is my business stuff now. I'm still drawing stuff and changing the website, and I get to a stage where I think to myself, the website's right now. And then 6 months later, now, I've got to change it all again. It's it's never ending.
Yeah.
That consistent, and that's why I like using the analogies of trees and growing, that you're always like a snake shedding its skin and renewing. This point of creativity, you're getting to a stage now where you're expanding. It started off at one level and now you expand up, but it's a consistent thing. Yeah. That you've done. So you said 15 years you've been doing it and figuring it all out, and
it wasn't necessarily a very big success at the beginning. The Boogie Tots that started was just. So the reason I started is because I had a son. He was about 2-3 years old, and we could not find anything for him to go to. Because we come from an entertainment background, we love music, we love party dances, we love silly stuff. He liked Crazy Frog and Michael Jackson. And when I that sort of time, music videos were very much a thing on the telly. I mean, now they're very popular on TikTok and stuff like that, but they were very much on the TV, so he could watch a lot of it. And we tried a few things, but we just couldn't find anything for him. We tried I took him to a stage school, and they were doing a dance, hot cross buns. Just stand there a minute and wait your turn. He couldn't do it. He's he's jumping about. When is it my turn? So I just thought I'll try and we'll start a class. And I've sort of been told before that that's not how it works, Sam. You don't just start a class. It's not that easy. But we thought we'd try because I couldn't see much risk in it. I just had a stereo. I was doing adult classes, so why don't we just try a class with Ben, see how it goes. It's only really your hall hire, we'll see. And it was terrible. And I said at the time as well, we had an idea that we'd teach you a routine.
So what was terrible?
Well, we teach you a routine. Me and Ben, we'd show you a bit of dancing, then you do it with your child. Right. Then put the music on, we do it to music. Maybe it was a pop dance, but similar learning a routine like they do in Strictly Come Dancing. Yeah. And I just looked around and thought, no one is doing this. Not every child is like Ben, actually. So I was like, okay, let's just sit down and we'll do some nursery rhymes. And I remember someone said, should we do Dingle Dangle Scarecrow? And I thought, I don't even know that one. What?
Don't you know Dingle Dangle Scarecrow?
Well, I do now. Yeah. I was like, do you want to start that? And I just thought, this is awful. And at the time, it was like £4 a class. And I remember one person came with 2 children, and I charged them £4 each, and it felt quite extortionate. Yeah. And then it was a disaster. And I just thought, oh my goodness. And we sort of went from that, and I was almost, it went downhill a bit. And I thought after that, I did think, what should we do? Maybe I should knock this on the head. And then I got picked up by Sure Start, the children's centre. They'd heard about it, and we went in for an interview, and for some reason I had Ben with me, I don't know why. And he was telling them about it, and he kind of basically sold it, and then that's it, you can do it. And for a long, so I did the Boogie Tots classes through Sure Start, so where they paid me, and but for a long time, people would come, they wouldn't join in, they'd have a little chat in the corner while the kids sort of dance in the smallest spaces ever. But I had to go through all of that to then get the class to what it is today.
Yeah, don't you think people underestimate? I always used to say we had a company where we was developing engineers, and they'd be like, taking delivery would be part of it, and they'd turn up and say, "Hey, I could take delivery," and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not taking delivery. You want a part of taking delivery is also going on site and letting that builder know this is where we're delivering, not over there, and almost holding your ground with them on where to deliver, what you want, and you set out your stance. And you can't teach that once. It's like, it's actually a skill you get after a while. I'm managing a team of people, and managing the situation.
Yeah.
It's quite, these are the things that, learning not what not to do.
Yeah.
And then when you have someone like a franchisee that can come in and show you, and this is where I think mentoring is important. This is another thing I think we could link with in the community connections, in having mentors in doing things like this, because showing people the pitfalls of it. I don't know if there's any people out there that have a franchise or that know about franchises. Give us a shout, because maybe you could mentor you on it, because there's probably those lessons that you learn where now you can get a class and almost see the kids that are going to do this and have techniques to manage them, whereas you didn't have that before.
No, I've developed it and learnt it.
And this is something that they'll get from that.
Well, something the other day when I went in my class that someone else was running, and I went in and I said, is there something on the stereo? Why is the music so low? And she just said, well, just kept it low because there's not many people. I said, no, whack it up. And you would assume everyone knows to put the music loud. But that's something that obviously it's just something I do because I know it.
Yeah. And that comes back to that ingredients in it. What's that little bit in there? Like the loud music for the kids, because they can lose themselves. There's no consciousness around stuff. It's like, it's loud.
They can be loud.
Yeah, they can be loud. And that gives them that permission.
But not too loud. It's a very fine line.
Yeah. Well, so what is that? You're almost to a point where you have you have the music at such and such a decibels.
Yeah.
And this is where the E-Myth book would probably get you to understand, okay, what is the sound level that your music's at? Like we argue at the moment with the audio, don't we, Ben, on this, what should be the right point where we Ben's in the background, where what's the right level, and that should be that benchmark that is set out. How far do you have the mic? What are the criteria? So we've come with a fist. Right. So what are those details that you write down and set? So when we start, okay, this is where the mic is, and this is how you do it, and those, and having that system is, I think when you find me coaching, is someone like you that knows what they're doing. And this is what this E-Myth talks about. How do you then extract all of that out? Because my nan would be chatting to me when she's making her scones while she's greasing the dishes, thinking that she's not making scones yet, but she's actually greasing the dishes and she's prepping stuff, and she would have got shopping the day before, knowing that she was going to cook. There's all those things. When I come to boxing and use the analogy of boxing, like there's so many points in a boxer where you turn your fist to get like another inch of stuff. All of those little things, when you see someone like Mayweather boxing, it makes it look so easy. Like when someone comes along and says, I couldn't do this Boogie Tots because I'm not as good as Sammy. She's amazing. It's like, well, and we talk about Adam, the comedian, there's so much in being able to do that, that you're going to give them those ingredients so that they can get to a stage where they can master the art of running those courses.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember at the class, my instructor said, this happened. I'm like, yeah, that happened to me. This is how I did it. Like pretty much every situation I've already been through it. Pretty much. I mean, and sometimes you'll be doing something, like we do birthday parties, and sometimes you'll be doing a birthday party for like a 1-year-old, and it'll be hard work. Yeah. But I always think, this isn't the worst one I've done. So, no. Yeah, because you've had that experience. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, birthday parties are very good for 1-year-olds as well. It just depends on the environment and what's going on at the time. But yeah, people don't always understand all the background. We make it look easy because we spent 15 years practicing. Yeah. They say 100, what is it, 100,000 hours or something?
Yeah, I always think of that, what's the big ice thing in the sea? iceberg.
Yeah.
But you don't see that underneath.
Oh yeah,
do
the
you?
under bit. You only see the top.
The big
yeah.
ice thing in the sea. That's how me and my daughter talk about the big ice thing in the sea. Yeah. But there is so much of that in the business, and that's what I do think that people probably don't get to respect from the franchise is all of that mastery that's been in it that they're given.
Yeah, all that debating about how much to charge for a class.
Yes.
Is done, you know.
Yeah, because it's just then a system, and this is where like McDonald's are brilliant. You go in and ask. I always say to business owners, like, ask for cheese on toast at McDonald's. Like, cheese on toast, but we don't do it. You know, well, you've got cheese and you've got bread. Yeah, but we don't do cheese on toast. They have a system, and they're good because they have a system. So we talked about community connections. I think this is where that we could link in with the Chevy Business Networking down at Bluetown, and maybe get you to come down there, because I think there's a lot of other business owners that either have an idea that would want to set this up, or from a marketing point of view, we talked about some marketing techniques. There's a lot of connections and knowledge that we could probably get from joining up. You talked before that you like to help people out and connect. And I think this is one of those that I think everything I've got from marketing point of view and even connections has come from people I know.
Yeah.
I'm not great. I'm just about to step into marketing to the outside world, but generally my marketing's been organically. Have you got any friends that want coaching, sort of thing?
Word of mouth is really powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think this is probably one of those, especially if this network, someone's out there that's got a mate Jenny who loves dancing, who's just had a couple of kids, or is in between jobs, and they would be amazing at this, and it's about those connections. So one of your asks is for people to contact you. Yeah, if
they want to find out more about the classes or about franchising.
Yeah, so we'll put your contact details up there. So come and join is the last point we was going to chat around. So come and join in terms of connecting with you and chatting more about franchise, but also the classes you've got coming up.
We've got some Halloween sessions coming up.
Right, nice.
and so one thing also about Boogie Tots is we tend to go through the school holidays.
Right.
So I know some people have 2 weeks for the October half term. So because obviously we lose customers because they go up to big school, but we also like to cater for them in the holidays. So if they want to come back and visit us, and I love it. So we have a thing where Boogie Tots is ideally for walking to under 5. So it's quite a big range, but it's best they're walking, because if it's not, then the grown-up does have to do a lot of work. So it's quite an energetic class. So if they can walk themselves, it's quite fun.
Or stand and bounce.
Yeah, stand and bounce. Yeah, that's fine. And you can really see, that's one of the really good positive things about Boogie Tots, because you can see the improvements in the children, in their movement, but also in their confidence. I find we do the hokey cokey. Like every Boogie Tots starts with head, shoulders, knees and toes, finishes with hokey cokey. And when a child will hold my hand for hokey cokey, I think, yes, cracked it. Yeah. The confidence is there.
I think at that young early age, trying to get people to work on the dynamics. It's funny, one of the boxers that I follow, his dad took him to dance classes when he was younger for the skills of footwork, and that those basic skills and those cognitive looking at someone else dancing, I think probably for kids when they're younger, watching other kids that are older dancing and want to imitate them and learning those skills would be excellent.
And their parents.
Yeah.
So what someone said to me recently, which makes me feel quite emotional, but they said not every mum is dancing in the kitchen with their children.
No.
And I think I am a mum that dances in the kitchen with my child.
But I don't think people appreciate the inhibitions that some mums have. And also that you talked before, and we talked off air before we started recording about freedom. And for me as a coach, all roads lead to freedom, whether it's financial freedom, physical health freedom, or spiritual, mental freedom. But that is that sweet spot, and I think for you to get people dancing and losing themselves enough to be freely dancing and enjoying, I think that's one of those places where people are at their ultimate. Yeah. Imagine going to a wedding, and usually this thing I did with dancing and without music, usually you're drunk, usually the right songs come on, you're with the right people, the lighting's a certain thing. And with all those things in place, you dance like no one's watching. You know, you've been at a wedding, you think, you come back and you're sweating, you're like, I really danced. I really showed my moves at that wedding. Well, you lost yourself. But then you take away the music, you take away that, and suddenly that ability to be in joy goes, because you haven't got the permission, because the music's not there, because you're not drunk, this, that and the other. And I think this dancing without music is to still be in that space without all of those things in there is the art. But that space where people have permission to dance because their kids are dancing. And also, this is where I think perspective's good. You'll dance because your kid's watching. So I want them to see how I want them to be. So you suddenly act it, and it's a really good leveler or leverage for people to step into that space, because otherwise the kids are going to grow up and they'll get their inhibitions when actually it's a roving that the kids are helping the parents to come back to that point of joy, isn't it? Yeah,
that's really nice. I had one session once, a dad and his child, and the child was sat on the side and the dad was going full out, really trying, but the kid and this is when my heart breaks a little bit, because the kid was just at the side like that, no, not doing it, and he's really going for it. And I just think that is a sad bit, when the parent really wants to dance with their child but the child's like, no.
But I think all the things I've learned is that watching, like with kids, like they're watching you whether you know it or not. So just to keep doing that, because eventually they're like, I'm going to join him. Yeah,
well, my middle son, he had to come to Boogie Tots whether he liked it or not, unfortunately. That's, mum's job, you got to come.
Mum says, yeah.
But that's one of the good things about Boogie Tots, I could take him. But he would never join in, ever. And then at his birthday, we played the Superman. He did all the moves.
Really?
All the moves. And I thought, you've been taking it in all that time. Yeah. And he's 16 now, he's a very confident young man. And I always say to him, this is what I hope. So if anyone's been to Boogie Tots and now they're sort of secondary school, college, university, I hope that when a chance to dance presents itself, that they take it.
Yeah.
That's what I hope.
Yeah, because and this is what links it to that mindset reset of getting back to, like, you don't want people to lose that ability to do that,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Well, listen, cheers for coming on, Sammy. I wish you all the best in setting up franchise. Anyone that's watching, follow the links and get in touch. Anything else you want to say? When are your classes, or so whereabouts in Minster? Was it Friendship House?
No, Sheppy. Oh, let me get my teeth in. Sheerness East Working Men's Club on a Friday morning.
That's the one. So in Halfway on a Friday morning.
Yeah, 10 to 11, and we've got 2 in Sittingbourne, Milton. Holy Trinity Church in Milton on a Tuesday morning, 10 to 11, and Wednesdays is at Lakeview Hall in Sittingbourne.
I do know Tundy wants to get the hall working here, so if you want another one up in Minster, someone's on there wants to run one in Minster, for Sammy, then get in touch.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right, cheers. Well, I think you'll be coming back again in maybe 6 months or a year, telling us. You can bring your first franchise.
Yeah.
They can come on and
that'd be good, wouldn't it?
And post it. All right, cheers. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.